Okay. Okay. So today I will be presenting about the proposal writing. Um, I hope that this will help everyone, especially those who have organization, or if you have a new projects or new programs in your organization. I hope that this will help you. I will be presenting in two parts. Part one is um, about Part one is about pre-writing, and the next schedule I'll be presenting to you the next part, the creating first draft, revising, editing, and creating a final draft. Okay, so this is gonna be technical. So for those who don't have organization, or for those um, who don't have any ideas about this, I hope that this will also give you an ideas. But I also hope that this will give more ideas for those who have an organization. This proposal writing, okay, right. So in the writing process, um, in the pre-writing stage, we will be needing to identify what to include in our proposal before starting the rough draft. Okay, so in the pre-writing stage, we have three things to do. That is to explore your idea. We need to write every idea. Okay, so there's not, you don't need to actually edit it. Just continue to flow the ideas with your team if you have teams with you, and then brainstorming. You need to have a brainstorming, and also to create an outline notes. On creating the outline notes, you will agree with your team. Like there's a main topic, subtopic, categories. The next one is to review the application criteria. So in an organization, they actually give you a application of criteria for grants. So you can base your ideas based from the application criteria. You can determine what information you need. Let's say your description, your timeline, how you will measure your success. And the other one is review the grant application criteria and decide what writing style and terminology is preferred. Writing style, you can use the persuasive writing style. You can use the expository writing style. But in writing a proposal, uh, I think the best thing to use is the persuasive writing style. And the next one is plan and structure. Okay. So in plan and structure, you need to create an idea map and choose what to include in the wrap draft. So these are the things that you need to do with your team when you actually do the pre-writing stage. Okay. I'll show you an example of an idea map. Okay. An idea map is a good way to create a visual representation of your brainstorming session with your colleague. So this can be very helpful for everyone. Others, they usually use post-it with the whiteboard. You can write down your ideas there, and then you post it on the whiteboard. Okay, let's say we have an example. Our example is our project. Let's say our example is to seek a grant to develop an online training for volunteers at your organization. This one, online training for volunteers. Okay. So you need to describe the project or program you need to implement using the grant funds, and include a timeline here. Timeline. Okay. And then, of course, you will also need to identify the capacity, the problem to solve, the description, this one, and the adapt and integrate training, measure. Okay, later on the next presentation, I will give you the details. So this one, you can agree with your team for to make an idea map, and then think of an elements based on the uh, criteria that in order for you to be able to have all together of these elements or these ideas with you. Okay. So an example of idea map. So our project name is online training for volunteers. So this is your project name, and you can actually think of how you are going to solve the problem. Let's say you want to the description of your online training for volunteers are to describe the problem and explain how you will solve it. So how you will solve it, need to train and deploy volunteers faster and reduce training costs. And how is what's the solution? You convert existing face-to-face training to online learning. Now, what are the key activities? So you can actually develop an online training, you can create exams to test knowledge, you can assign staff to review the content or assign staff to monitor the online training program. Um, and the next one is the timeline. So it's important that in your brainstorming, you need to agree the timeline on your proposal. So when are you going to hire learning developer, develop training prototype, review and revise content, train staff to make revision. So these timelines need to be added on your proposal or on your um, brainstorming and also in your idea map. Okay. Next one is to measure. So you need to describe how you will measure impact, uh, how many numbers of volunteers you need to train, measure volunteers' knowledge and skills acquired through assessments. So, and then pilot training and obtain feedback from volunteers in the field. When you think of measure, how you will know that the participants or volunteers will be able to train. So you can actually have an assessments or request for a feedback. Another one is adapt and integrate training. You can explain how you will adapt and integrate the training at your organization on your proposal. Describe your promotion strategy and marketing plan. You can use your website, you can send emails, you can provide materials. You can also identify ways to encourage staff to access online training. You need to train your staff. And if there are existing training that you have in your organization, you can integrate that if in case that you have a new program or new projects that you need to have funds. The next one is capacity. So describe what the online training will achieve for the organization. So perhaps it can reduce your overall training costs, increase the number of volunteers trained using the same training budget, provide training to volunteers at any time and in any location. Okay. Now, in proposal writing, on the first stage of pre-writing, if in case that you don't have, let's say that you don't have a copy of criteria or guidelines, this one is a template you can use for a proposal or to make a grant application. This is a template that you can follow. It's a detailed, and if in case that the organization gave you a criteria or guidelines, it's better. But this one is a template for you that you can use. So let's say title page, you need to put your title or proposal, date, contact information, and on the summary, you need to describe the current situation with how you plan to solve the problem, why this is the best solution, the impact, both people and scope, the time frame, and overall cost. For the first page, the summary should be about 300 words. The next one is the detailed proposal. This detailed proposal um, needs in it needs this nawawala ako sa English. It needs a background, okay? So the background should have overview of your organization, your compelling story. So you need to include a story of the organization that you have, and also the compelling story should be um, linked on the proposal that you are going to make, and it should be linked on the project that you are going to make or okay. And then the extent of the problem and a brief solution to the problem. So in order for you to make this background, you can actually ask you can use the 5W and 1H. The what, where, who, why, what, and then the how. So you'll be able uh, to create or to um, to have the idea of doing the background of your organization, of your compelling story, and the extent of the problem and the brief solution to the problem. Now, this description of the project, this outline are the project or program that it should be 2 to 4 pages. All right. So, on the description of your project or program, you can include your objectives, the specific short term objectives for the project or program. What's going to be your process? Let's say you are going to mention about the purchasing materials, the training for the staff, and also the evaluation, how you will measure the process, the timeline, if it is 5 years project, if it's 10 years program, and your budget. You also need to provide summary budget. And on the last page of your proposal, you can include the detailed timeline, detailed budget, relevant information about your organization, annual report, financial statement. There. Okay.